Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. It's Taylor here. But anyways, first things first, I just want to get out there. I'm having some struggles with my ankle today. I don't know what it is, but I'm struggling. So bear with me. And second thing is, I have a pretty cool video, I think. We are doing some simple, beginner-friendly, gluten-free food swaps. So just a little background information as to why I'm doing this video. It's because I'm gluten-free. I have celiac disease. I've had celiac disease since I was 4 years old, so I've eaten gluten-free basically my entire life. I can't remember the last time I had gluten on purpose. So I guess you could say I'm a pro at being gluten-free. So before I ramble on any longer, why don't we just get right into this video. So if you are someone who's trying to become gluten-free, then this is the video for you, especially if you're like older and you're a beginner and you don't really know like exactly what to swap out at first, or maybe you're just doing this for a diet lifestyle, not necessarily dietary restriction. First things first, I want to talk about what is gluten. Gluten basically is anything that contains like wheat, flour, barley, rye, and sometimes malt. Most of the time malt. Malt doesn't like normally bother everybody, but it tends to bother me. Everybody's different. So yeah, basically that is what is in gluten. That's what pertains to gluten. And all of those things are things that you would want to avoid while being on a gluten-free diet. So the next thing, I feel like a lot of people like question why people become gluten-free. And in today's world, it kind of sucks for someone like me who physically has to eat gluten. Otherwise, she will die internally, because a lot of people tend to become gluten-free just for a lifestyle and just like dietary lifestyle change. They don't have to be gluten-free, they just choose to be. And so it's kind of like annoying for people like me who have to eat it that way. Sometimes like I feel like restaurants or places that say they have gluten-free don't take it as seriously. There's a lot of cross-contamination and they say things are gluten-free when really everything is made in the same place. So, hence the cross-contamination or things like that. So it's not truly gluten-free, and that's what sucks, because I sometimes never know and I will get sick just by the tiniest bit of cross-contamination. But anyways, the question was why people become gluten-free, and honestly most of the time it's because of a dietary sensitivity. Lots of people as they age tend to grow sensitive to gluten. Sometimes they'll develop a wheat or a gluten allergy. Sometimes people discover my age that they have celiac, or even older and discover they have celiac disease, and they have to start making this change into a gluten-free diet. But yeah, so basically why people become gluten-free is mainly because of a diet sensitivity. Others is just because of a lifestyle choice that they are deciding to make. They just chose to become gluten-free. So yeah. Alright, so now let's get into the good part of the video, and that is all of the simple beginner swaps that you should make in becoming gluten-free. I have changed location due to the fact that this spot is closer to my kitchen and I can easily get up and find things to show you that are gluten-free and yada yada yada. So the first and most important thing that you should change in your diet is bread, okay? Bread, I feel like, is the most common thing that people eat every day. Why wouldn't you switch out your bread? Like, first things first, that's what you're switching out, is your bread. And let me be the first one to tell you that the gluten-free bread is most likely not in your bread aisle at your grocery store. Any grocery store that I've ever gone to, gluten-free bread has never been there. It has always been in either the gluten-free section, where it's supposed to be, as well as in the freezer of the gluten-free section. Most bread, I feel like, is kept frozen. I don't know why. I guess maybe it lasts longer or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, switch your bread. That is the most important thing that you should do. I can't reiterate that enough. I feel like a lot of people don't understand the importance of this, because I feel like a lot of people will think just because the bread is a healthier bread that it means it's gluten-free. And that is simply just not the case at all. Hi guys, so I also just want to add that just because it's gluten-free bread, it doesn't mean that it's healthier. A lot of people also get that confused. Gluten-free bread is actually kind of worse for you. It's filled with a lot more sugar, and because all the ingredients that you have to combine to keep it together, it's just not as healthy. So if you are switching to gluten-free for health reasons, or because you think it's healthier, definitely consult your doctor first, and also it's not healthier. So I wish I was a little bit more prepared in the bread department, because both of our breads, mine and my husband's, are pretty low right now. Let me show you an example of a healthier bread that is not gluten-free, and that is Dave's Killer Bread. Dave's Killer Bread is not gluten-free. Do not buy it. I mean, unless you don't want to eat gluten-free, then of course buy it. But if you're trying to become gluten-free, this is not the bread to do it. Literally, when you look at the ingredients on it, the first thing to pop up is whole wheat. So no, it is not gluten-free. Just because it seems like it's gluten-free bread because it's healthier, it's not. But this is my bread. This is the gluten-free bread that I absolutely love. It's my favorite. So this is the Canyon Bakehouse. I just find that the ingredients on this one are a little bit better than on other gluten-free breads. And this one is an ancient grain bread. Oh, this one I think is also vegan. It doesn't say it's vegan. It says dairy, soy, and nut free. You know, it's allergy friendly all across the board. This one's my favorite though, and it literally says certified gluten-free right here on the package. So clearly you know it's gluten-free. But this is one of those breads that you can either find just plain in the gluten-free bread section or in the freezer section of your gluten-free aisle. It kind of just depends, I guess, on where they stock it. My grocery store tends to stock it in two places, one not in the freezer and then one on a shelf. I don't know why, but yeah. The second thing that you just immediately need to start swapping out is your pasta. I feel like these two things are the most like eaten gluten wise. I eat a lot of bread and a lot of pasta. So pasta, 100%. Barilla actually makes a wonderful gluten-free pasta. You just have to be careful and not buy the regular Barilla brand because they clearly have pasta that's not gluten-free, but theirs will definitely say gluten-free right on it. So yes, definitely recommend the Barilla. I love it. I think it's great. And this one that I have here is just another like generic like grocery store brand. I think you can find this one at any grocery store. This is just a brown rice pasta that's gluten-free. Brown rice tends to kind of be like the most common substitute for pasta. You can find other ones, you know, it's just kind of whatever suits your fancy. This one was kind of cheap, so I bought it. But yeah, so this is a good one. I kind of like this one. But yeah, you could just find any generic kind of gluten-free pasta. And then another one that you can buy that is just naturally gluten-free is actually this Bonza pasta that I have right back here. I love this one. This is just naturally gluten-free because it's made with chickpeas. On the side of the box, it actually says certified gluten-free. So right here it says certified gluten-free right on it. You know that it's safe and good for you to eat. Plus this one is really yummy. Also packed with protein and a great substitute. Okay, so this next one actually I don't think is as common as maybe I think it is. I absolutely love tortillas. Like I love tacos and I love quesadillas. They're amazing. Another thing I recommend swapping out is your tortillas. So the tortillas that you want to get are the corn tortillas. There is a brand, I don't remember which one, that does have like almost like it's a flour tortilla, but it's gluten-free. I think it's the Meissen brand. I personally, it's not my favorite. It's just like really doughy to me. I don't know. The type of tortillas that you're gonna want to get are the corn tortillas. I got this giant thing of tortillas, I think for like $3 at my normal grocery store. Yeah, so they're just regular corn tortillas. Like you just have to look for the small ones. They have to say corn. They don't necessarily have to say gluten-free on them actually, just because they are made of corn. But this one actually does say gluten-free on it. It says it right on the top of the package. So there's no confusion there. You just have to look. So another common thing that people tend to eat are pastries like cookies and cupcakes and cake, things like that. You know, people love that stuff. For me, love cookies. That is my guilty pleasure. Cookies. Swap out your pastries. You have to really be careful with these because sometimes cross-contamination, like I said before, and all that other stuff. So definitely swapping out your pastries, I would recommend doing, especially if you are a pastry lover or a dessert lover like myself. That would be the next thing I recommend you switching out because everything, like basically every dessert has gluten in it. So you might as well just find a gluten-free dessert and stick to it. And if it's not gluten-free, don't eat it because almost everything that's a dessert has gluten. They have tons and tons of gluten-free cookies and cakes and things like that. So don't even worry, you'll find something. It just takes 1 or 2 tries to find the ones that you like. I personally love the Glutino brand and the Pamela's brand. Those are the best. So another thing that you should switch out, especially if you're someone who loves to bake, like I previously said before with the pastries, is switching out your baking mixes and like your flours. Any other like baking mix. So this is the one that I have. So this is a baking and pancake mix one. So I can make like muffins and cookies And what else can I make with this? Coffee cake, waffles, banana bread. I could make a ton of stuff with this, okay? Yeah, this is just one of the things I'm talking about, like to swap out. So if you love baking stuff like I do, or like baking like pancakes and waffles, definitely swap this out. Get yourself a gluten-free baking mix. It is going to pay off so much in the end. It's definitely going to help you out a lot in that area. But you can see that it even says gluten-free right up at the top, so you know it's gluten-free. So there's no confusion on knowing if it is or not. And plus, it's the Pamela's brand. And Pamela's, I think, only makes gluten-free products. Not really sure. Don't quote me on that. Any Pamela's products I've seen have only ever been gluten-free. And like I said before, this is one of my favorite brands that is gluten-free. This is one of the OG brands, and Pamela, whoever she is, does fan-freaking-tastic. And another brand that I really like that does have a lot of like baking mixes and flours and stuff like that. Honestly, I thought the package brand was gonna be on here, and it's not, is Arthur Red Mills or Bob's Red Mills. I can't remember the name. I think it's Bob Red Mill because it's my oatmeal from there. Yeah, so Bob's Red Mills has tons and tons of variety when it comes to baking flours and baking mixes and stuff like that. You can find basically anything. It's awesome. Like this is the baking flour, the 1-to-1 flour, you know, if you needed to substitute it out with recipes and stuff like that. It's super simple, super easy. It's really not hard to do. And like I said, this is one of my favorites. So if you're a big snacker like me, all right, I love crackers. Crackers are great. I recommend swapping those out, clearly, because I'm mentioning it right now. My favorite ones are the Blue Diamond Nut Thins. So they're gluten-free. They say wheat and gluten-free right on the box. Hard to miss. I don't know if you can see that. Can you? There you go. Wheat and gluten-free. They're almond rice crackers. So, I mean, if you're allergic to almonds or something like that, I don't think you should get them, or any type of nut. I don't think you should get them just because they literally say nut thins, and all of their stuff I think is made in the same facility as everything else that has nuts. So I'm sorry if you're also allergic to nuts and also allergic to gluten. But anyways, this is my favorite brand. I just think that they're really good. I also really like the Glutino brand of crackers. Those ones are really good. Those are more like Ritz crackers, and these are more of like a healthy cracker. But yeah, these are really like crunchy. They taste really good. They're satisfying and everything like that. But yeah, so this is my favorite brand. I guess pick this one up. And another common snack that I feel like lots of people eat are pretzels. I don't eat pretzels as much as I used to, actually, so I don't have any to show you. But again, like I said, my favorite brand is Glutino. I think they have the best gluten-free pretzels, but I think that's just a me thing because a lot of people don't agree with me on that. I don't know why, but I think they're the best gluten-free pretzels there are. Every other brand just is kind of trash and they're not as good as these. I don't know. But yeah, so if you like to snack and, you know, snack foods are your go-to, crackers and pretzels definitely are the way to go. Like I said, this is a beginner food swap, so hopefully those beginner swaps were helpful to you. And if you want to start small, definitely start with your bread and your pastas. Those are the two most common things I feel like people eat that contain gluten in them on a regular basis. So if you'd like to start small, that's definitely what I recommend starting with, is bread and pasta. But like I said, this is a simple food swap video, but if you are willing to go more into depth with it, I have some great news for you. I have some other foods for you to watch out for, because most of these foods tend to be gluten-free, but you have to watch out because sometimes they're not. You know, it's a little sneaky. Sometimes it doesn't say gluten-free and things like that, and yada, yada, yada. The first food that you should watch out for, and also wouldn't expect to contain gluten, and that is oats, like oatmeal. If oatmeal doesn't say that it's certified gluten-free or that it's a gluten-free oatmeal, you should be careful, because a lot of time like oats and wheat fields are cross-contaminated. They all grow in the same field, and even that process, it, you know, contaminates things. You have to be careful when it comes to oats. So like I said, my favorite brand is Bob's Red Mills. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the package for like these oats. I always use these. These are the old-fashioned rolled oats, but this is actually what the brand looks like for Bob's Red Mills. So normally like that is literally just the logo, and so any product you were looking for with Bob's Red Mills, would have this logo on it. I mean, that's, you know, just the oatmeal. Almost everything that they have is certified gluten-free. It always says it on there. Another thing you have to be careful for and really watch out for is granola. Most granola is gluten-free, but like I said, a lot of granola is made with like oats and stuff like that. So oats aren't always gluten-free, and a lot of times granola is made in the same facilities that process wheat and things like that. And sometimes granola, you know, has added ingredients and, you know, tends to add like wheat products into it. So for example, this granola that I have right here is the Good and Gather brand from Target. It doesn't say anything about being gluten-free on it, and when I look in the ingredients section, it doesn't say contains wheat. I bought it thinking that it was gluten-free because I did look through the ingredients, but I didn't look very carefully because the ingredients do list malt and barley. Now, whether it would bother me, you know, to an extent, just because it's a syrup, I don't know. And I did have some of it. I didn't have a lot, but it didn't bother me, but it's not gluten-free. So like things like that, you have to be careful. You have to check on the ingredients all the time because you never know. So if this didn't have malt and barley extract in it, this would be gluten-free, even though there's no indication. And I don't think they even would put indication on there because it's made in a facility that handles wheat ingredients. You know what I mean? So like you always have to check, you always have to make sure. It's just like, you know, good thing to do. All right, another food that you gotta watch out for that most people don't know that like contains gluten in it, and I'm just like kind of baffled that like, what do you mean you don't know this contains gluten? That is cereals. You really have to be careful with some cereals. Like some of them will have malt in them or they'll have barley. Lots of them tend to have wheat and flour in them. Yeah, you have to be careful. A lot of them will say gluten-free on them, or other ones will not have any gluten ingredients listed and they're gluten-free, but they don't say it. So you just remember, like I said, like if it doesn't say it, look. So my favorite cereal that is gluten-free is Honey Nut Cheerios. I don't eat a lot of Cheerios or, you know, cereals, but this is definitely my favorite one. This one, so a few years ago, Cheerios were not gluten-free, and then they became gluten-free. And it says gluten-free right up at the top. Some Cheerios, though, are not gluten-free, so be careful of that. Some of them contain wheat ingredients because they mix things with it. Like I said, be careful. I can't be any more direct when it comes to that. Be careful of certain cereals. I love Cheerios. I recommend this one if you're looking for a good gluten-free one. So kind of like the last and like final one that you should be careful of are like general snack foods. Most general snack foods you'd have to be careful with because you don't know if they contain gluten. So things like protein bars and candy and sometimes chips, condiments and seasonings, which aren't really snack foods, but they fall under the category of what you have to look for. Some condiments and seasonings will put wheat in their ingredients, and I don't know why, because like what good does it do, really? But like I said, those are the things you have to watch out for in other products that aren't just mainly wheat, you know? I don't know. Does this make sense? Does any of this make sense? I don't know. I know it makes sense to me because I've been this way my entire life, but me explaining it, does it make sense? What I'm saying, like you have to look to make sure that it's gluten-free. Anyways, let's move on. So I know I already talked about what you need to look for, but I'm going to say it again because I feel like you didn't hear me, because lots of people don't do this and I don't know why when they look for gluten in food products. So I'm just gonna let you know again. Always look to see if it says certified gluten-free on it. It doesn't have to for it to be gluten-free, but the safest and like quickest way to know is if it does say certified gluten-free on it, and it will save you lots of time. So if it says it on there, you don't have to look at the ingredients because you already know that it's gluten-free. And if it doesn't say certified gluten-free on it, always check the contains section of the ingredient list first, because 9 times out of 10 it will say contains wheat if it contains a wheat product. And that will save you so much time because you don't need to look through the entire ingredient list. And when you are looking through the ingredient list and it doesn't say contains wheat, what you do need to look for though is wheat, flour, rye, barley, and malt. All of those things contain gluten. They're all cross-contaminated with each other. Always look for those types of things in products to see if they're gluten-free or not. And let me just say, there has been too many times that it's happened to me where somebody thought the ingredients was going to say gluten, and nothing peeves me more because I know it's like not, if you're not gluten-free, it's like not a dumb thing, but to me, it is a dumb thing because the fact that it's like people literally will look for the word gluten if there is gluten in it. And I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. Gluten is a variety of things. Like I said, wheat, flour, rye, barley, malt. That is what gluten is. So you can't look for the word gluten because it's not going to say it. If you didn't know that, then now you do. I was the first person to tell you, and thank you, you're welcome. But on that note, let me backtrack it a little bit because not all flour is bad. Not all flour in the ingredient list is going to be wheat flour. Wheat flour is what you cannot have if you are gluten-free. So if it says wheat flour in it, you can't have it. But if it says something else like almond, rice, tapioca, potato, soy, and corn flour, those are all safe. You can eat those types of flours because those aren't a wheat-based flour. It's not made from wheat. It's made from the ingredients that it says it is. So potato flour is made from potatoes. Rice flour is made from potatoes. Rice flour is made from rice. There we go. And almond flour made from almond flour. There's turkeys outside, and Bo sees them, and his ears are all perked. It was just funny because I saw something out of the corner of my eye moving in the woods, and I was like, "What is that?" And it's a turkey.
You're a turkey pig.
So all of those things, all of those types of flour are safe ingredients to eat within a gluten-free product. So when you see a product that says certified gluten-free and then you look on the ingredients and it says almond flour, that's okay. Like that type of flour is fine. All right. I just feel like I need to reiterate and say that because a lot of people don't understand what flour is or what type of flour you can't have when you are gluten-free. Okay, let me wrap up this video with all of the main points that I made, and that is what gluten is, and that is wheat flour, barley, malt, and rye. If you are starting small when it comes to like swapping out your food for gluten-free food, definitely start with bread and pasta. They are the two most common gluten-filled items that people eat. Those are the ones I'd recommend switching first. And the top 3 foods that you need to watch out for when you are switching to be gluten-free, because sometimes they don't seem like they'd have gluten in them, but they do, is oats, granola, and cereals. Most products will say certified gluten-free on them if they are gluten-free, or just gluten-free on the package, in the label, you know, gluten-free pretzels, gluten-free whatever, you know, like things like that. It will say gluten-free, but remember to check everything because you never know, because it happens sometimes like it did to me. Basically, that is it, you know, like it gets easier as you go along. Once you've been gluten-free for a while, you kind of like get the gist of things, and you know, being on a gluten-free diet becomes much easier. It's not as hard because once you become gluten-free, you discover that basically everything has gluten in it. So keep that in mind when you decide you want to become gluten-free, because if you don't have to, don't do it, because it's not glamorous as, you know, one might make it seem. But anyways, yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this was helpful. I really wanted to make this video because I'm gluten-free, and I thought it'd be very informational because a lot of people are always confused when I'm like, I'm gluten-free, I can't eat that, and they're like, what do you mean? All right, guys, but thank you so much for watching this video. That is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias as well as subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.